Hey everybody. Right now we're looking at the piece of woodwork that is in my Black Ghost knife fish tank, and this video is actually going to be about the piece of woodwork I now have in my new native tank, but I didn't want to spoil the surprise by having the video start out looking at that wood before I give you my intro. I found a piece of wood yesterday while I was out scouting around looking for rocks and wood. I didn't expect to bring anything home, but I found one that I absolutely loved. So I did bring it home, and I got it scrubbed up a little bit, and I have it in the tank. The reason it's in the tank now is simply to give my brain something to work with. I'm not really good at looking at an empty tank and visualizing what the end result is going to look like. I need something to go on. So I went ahead and I put the rock in the tank. I did put a few rocks in the tank just for some color and some texture. But I put a piece of wood in the tank as well, and we're going to go ahead and have a look at what I've got so far. And as impressive as that is, it's still just not talking to me. I've got plenty of room left to do a lot more in the tank. This piece here is only about 3 to 3.5 feet long. So it is a fantastic piece of wood, but it's just not talking to me. So I think what the next step we're going to do is I'm going to put some gravel in the tank. I know in the video I shot the other day I said I was going to put the rocks in first, but we're gonna have rain for the next couple days. It's gonna be a while before I can get some rocks and really start moving forward on this tank, but I'm still just drawing a blank. I still don't see a way forward for this tank. I've got a few ideas, but I need rocks before I can do anything. So just to get the creative juices flowing a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and put some gravel in there. I can always move it later. It's gonna be a while before we have fish in there, so whatever I have to do to this tank is no big deal. It's just gonna be water, So that's how I'm going to move forward tonight. I've been sitting here looking at this log since last night, and it's just not doing anything for me. As far as how I've treated it before I put it in the tank, we can discuss that in a different video. I wanted to point this out while I'm standing here, and I can see it right in front of me. You see that little white worm right there? So this wood, and you can see all those little holes all through it, this wood is probably riddled with life. And all I really did to treat this is squirt it off with the hose and scrub it up with a firm bristled, plastic bristled scrub brush, just to get the mud and filth off of it. I didn't sterilize it in any way. Again, we'll get into that when I get into how I'm actually going to treat for the wood, because a piece of wood this size is going to be tough for me to treat. I'm not really going to be able to put that in a pan and boil it on my oven, or boil it on my stove. So we will talk about how we're going to treat that in a later video. Right now I'm just sort of going over my process. I'm just kind of mulling this over, and again, it's just not talking to me. I really like the way it's hollow. You can see all the way through almost to the other end. The other end is actually capped off, so it does make a nice little cave. And of course that knot hole is actually one of the key features that I like. It allows access in and out of that cave, so it would allow for some really good natural looking behavior from the kinds of fish that I think we're going to end up with in here. But again, that's down the road a little bit. This side is actually more attractive to me. I like the greens in it. I like the color texturing, and I like the fact that the wood is still smooth-ish, and it doesn't look all gunged up. The other side had mud all packed in it, and it was just all nasty. That was the side that was sort of down in the mud, and this side was the one that was more exposed. So again, it's beautiful. It's just not talking to me. I also kind of don't like the way this end has been sort of cut. You can tell somebody, chainsawed this log at one point. But again, that can easily be covered up and masked either with some creative rock work or the way you twist it and prop it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on getting some gravel in this tank. Let's walk back around here. And then we'll have another look at it with some gravel underneath of it. And maybe I'll roll it over and we can look at it in a different position or two. So let me get started on that. Alright. Well, that makes a big difference seeing the gravel in there. I've also got the backing on so you don't look straight through the tank anymore. You can see the bubbles coming up. I did put some hydrogen peroxide in the tank. Again, that's something we can talk about in another video. As far as what I did to the tank to make any adjustments and change the way the tank feels a little bit, obviously we added the gravel. That is probably about 110 pounds of gravel maybe that I put in there. I had two 25-pound bags And then I had more here at the house. That's why you can see the black gravel interspersed through it. It's just some stuff I had left over from before, and I had it in a bucket. And then I had a bag that was actually overfilled where I had put some gravel back in from emptying another tank at another point. So it was 3 25-pound bags plus a 5-gallon bucket. Most of a 5-gallon bucket is what I put in there, and it really gave me about as much as I want. I don't really need a lot more than that once we get done with putting more rocks and everything in there. So the next thing I did was I added one more stone, that stone right there in the center of your screen now. And then of course I moved these and just sort of propped them up. I did a little bit of work to hide the sawed off end of the piece of wood. Again, just something to work with and start getting my creative juices flowing. I really like this rock. I remember the day I found it. I didn't know what I was going to do with it when I found it, but it almost has a wood grain look about it itself. It almost looks like a petrified piece of wood. So we rolled the log over somewhat. You can kind of see how it is now. The knothole is facing more upwards. If we come down and look at it this way more, you can actually see much more what I was talking about. It's all hollow underneath and makes for quite a large and spacious amount of habitat in there. And then of course, you know, even a fairly sizable fish would be able to move in and out of that fairly easily. So I don't know if it's going to stay in there, but it really does give it a very different feel. And while it wasn't talking to me before, it's certainly talking to me now. It's really definitely helping me think about what I want this tank to look like. So lots of good stuff coming up. Again, just all kinds of stuff. We're going to go over how I put the backing on, and we'll talk more about the lighting and etc, etc, etc. Tons of stuff coming up on this tank. So make sure you're subscribed. That way you won't miss anything. This is my native tank. It's 125 gallons, and we got tons and tons of good stuff coming up. So I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed it.